In this video, we're going to show you how to install the hood release handle located right here underneath the driver's side knee board on the Chrysler 300. Across the front bottom of your bumper, go ahead and remove the 7mm screws across the bottom. On the back side of our splash shield is going to be two 10mm screws right here. Let's go ahead and loosen and remove those. On the inside of your fender well here, there's going to be 3 plastic push pin clips. You're going to use our trim tool, pop out the center, and then remove those little buttons there. Once this is done here on the driver's side, we're going to repeat for the passenger side. With that hardware removed, we can now grab our splash shield, slide that out, and set it aside. Now behind the passenger side section of the bumper, there's going to be a bulkhead connector right here. And what this does is this connects the chassis harness to the front bumper for our fog lights and other operational components there. I want to go ahead and press in on the tab and disconnect this. On the upper portion of our fender liner here, I want to go ahead and pull out these 3 plastic push pins. Use your trim tool, go ahead and pop these out. Once these 3 are out, I want to repeat for the passenger side. With those clips removed, we go ahead and peel this back here. Now there's going to be 3 bolts holding the bumper to the fender. We're going to use our 10mm socket and an extension. I'm going to loosen and remove these 3. Once these are out, we're going to repeat for the passenger side. Along the top part of your bumper here, or grille area, there's going to be 4 plastic buttons. I want to go ahead and use your trim tool, pop these buttons up. And we're going to remove these here. Now with all that hardware out, we're going to go ahead and start on the driver's side. We're going to grab the edge of the bumper here and we're going to pull it forward. Once that's dislodged, we're going to go ahead and grab the center of the grille area and the bumper and work our way to the passenger side supporting the bumper. Once those two sides are disconnected, we go ahead and separate the entire bumper and set it aside. Go ahead and remove these plastic trim panels. I'm going to simply lift up, disconnect this. You're separating the clips from the tab area here. Do the same for the driver's side. Pop that up, set it aside. We're going to use our 13mm socket to remove the two bolts holding the hood latch. Once that's removed, we want to go ahead, flip this over, and we want to go ahead and disconnect the cable from the latch mechanism. So we're going to use a pair of pliers and crimp these little tabs here and work that cable out. I'm going to use a pick here. We're going to go ahead and remove the spring. Right there, that's going to allow us to get to the other end of the cable here on our latching unit. Use our pliers. I'm going to pinch on those little tabs. That's going to allow us to pull back on that cable. I'm going to go ahead and remove the cable from the latching mechanism right here and pull that out. I'm going to go ahead and work our cable out of this notch and pull this out. Now this cable runs down and goes underneath our headlamp assembly. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the little clip or retainer holding this cable in place underneath the headlight. Now underneath the headlight here, there's a little mounting tab. We're going to use our trim tool. We're simply going to go ahead and get that trim tool underneath and just pop that clip out. You want to pay attention to how the cable runs. It goes underneath the main headlight beam here, and it goes up. This cable is going to run up into the engine compartment and run along the top side of the fender. So let's go up into that engine compartment and follow that cable. Now our cable comes up and runs right along the side of the fender right here. I'm going to use my pick. There's a little retainer clip here. So I'm going to kind of grab that cable and I'm going to open up that clip and pull that cable out. I'm going to try and use my little pocket screwdriver here to put in there and open this up. Do the same with this one here. Just kind of open up this little clip, pop that cable out. Now the cable runs underneath our upper cover here. So we want to go ahead and pop some plastic pins here so we can go ahead and get access to this running down into the firewall. Right behind this foam block here, there's a plastic button right here. Use your trim tool. I'm going to go ahead and pop that up. Once you have this plastic button out here, you're going to come over to the second one right over here, closest to the fender. We want to go ahead and pop this one up as well. Let's go ahead and get this third one right here. This should allow us a little bit more flexibility. Now the cable goes underneath the foam block here. You can do one of two things. You can either try and reach through this pocket right here where we remove that panel from, or you can go ahead and pull up on this panel here and go ahead and reach your arm through underneath, whatever works best for you. But let's go ahead and get to that cable down in the firewall. Now the cable end has the rubber grommet here. I'm going to go ahead and reach down. I'm going to try and work that rubber grommet in This cable is going to get pulled through the firewall, so we just want to try and get that started like that. And let's go ahead up underneath the dash. On the bottom side of the dash, we have a carpeted cover right here. There's two plastic push pins. There's one right here, and there's one over to the left of the hood release button. Go ahead and use your trim tool. Let's go ahead and pop these buttons off. Once we have those buttons off, we should be able to go ahead and slide this carpeted cover down and out. In our case here, we have a screw right here. We need to go ahead, loosen and remove. Go ahead and peel this back. I want to go ahead and access the hardware right here on each side of our latch. We use our 8mm socket to go ahead and loosen and remove these two screws holding the handle. Go ahead and pull this out. And we're going to start to pull the cable out from underneath the dash and through the firewall. There's the end of the cable. Okay, let's go ahead and take our new cable. I'm going to start to feed this through the hole here. Now at this point here, we're right at the grommet. We're going to go ahead up into the engine bay and we're going to pull the cable through where we need it to. And then we'll come back here, we'll put a little bit of grease around this rubber boot here and pull that through the firewall to seal that up. Now at this point here, we have our cable coming out. It kind of popped out between the cover here. We're just going to go ahead and lift up the foam here. I'm going to feed that underneath it like so. We're now, at this point here, going to go ahead and push the rest of the cable through from the inside, and we'll push that rubber grommet through. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of silicone grease on this boot here, just so that it slides into that, pops in nice and easy. And we'll go ahead and feed that boot up and in. And we're going to press that in as far as we can. And then I'm going to go ahead and install our handle right here underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a screw, line this up. And just going to go ahead and get these started a couple threads. All right, now we have those snugged in. Let's go on the outside. We'll pull that cable the rest of the way through on that boot, and then we'll run the cable the rest of the way to the front of the car. Now we can go ahead and reach down inside. And just work that boot. You can feel it pop into place, so we're good right there. We want to go ahead and just swing our cable through on this side of our rod here. Make sure that's in the proper location. Let's go ahead and install our cap here. Let's pop that back into place. Install our buttons. Install our cover. These two little tabs go on first, and then snap down the front side. Now we can go ahead and run the cable through our clips. You can pop it in there. The next step is, before you snap it in there, you have to run the cable down behind the headlight. Go ahead and guide that through. Now once that's in place, we're going to go ahead and use our pick. Going to line that cable up in there. I'm going to just try and rotate this little retaining clip here so we can get our cable into it. Once you have that facing upward, okay, just slide that cable over and push it down, and it's snapped into place. Take your cable, you want to swing this over, and we have a retainer clip that needs to go into the hole right up inside here. Just got to reach up in there, line up that retainer button, and just press it in. Once we're clipped in, go ahead and run that cable up on the inside of the headlight here. There's a notch right in the plastic. Popped it through there. And feed it right through like that. Install your cable end. Goes in underneath. Get that barrel in there like so. Put your cable end in here. Push that in. That'll be locked in. I'm going to go ahead and hook up our spring. The end of the spring is now going to go into this hole here. Now that spring needs to go over into this little notch on the side. Okay. Okay. Make sure everything works smoothly. Now we can go ahead and install our two bolts. Now you want to go ahead and get those started by hand first. And we're going to tighten these down. Now you're probably going to notice where the washers are going to be clean. So how we're simply going to line this up, because the holes are a little bit slotted here or ovaled out, we're simply going to bring this down a little bit, line up that washer,
Snug it just a little bit, and then we're going to bring this one down. Make sure it lines up with the clean spot on there, and tighten them down. That way there, we know that our latch will hook up with the hood perfectly. Go ahead and bring the bumper back into place. Be careful not to drag the bumper across your paint. We like to go ahead and hang the top section here. You want to come on over to the driver's side and want to go ahead and line this up into your fender. Pop that in. Let's go ahead and do the same for the passenger side. Lining up the front stud here with this notch and the side of the bumper into the fender trim here. Bring that back and lock it in. Install our 4 plastic push pins. With these buttons in, you can take your plastic caps here. We're going to get these locking clips installed into that support. Snap that in. This one here has a tab that is going to go inside and below the other one, locking them together. And snap this side in.
Go ahead and peel this back. We're going to install the 3 screws holding our bumper to the fender.
I'm going to get these started by hand first.
And then we'll come back and snug them down. I'm going to install our plastic push pins for our fender liner to the bumper. Let's go ahead and repeat for the passenger side. Install the connector on the passenger side, line that up, press it up, and you're here and feel it lock into place. Install your lower splash shield here. And to hold this in place, I'm going to go ahead and install our 2 rearward mounted screws first. Going to get these started by hand. Once those are in, we're going to install our screws across the front side of the vehicle. Once we have all these in, we'll snug these down first, and then we'll tighten down the
2 screws on the back side. I just want to snug these down. Do this right across the front. We want to install the 3 push pins here on the back side. Now on this edge right here, what I like to do is put a screwdriver in the back just to hold pressure on the fender liner. Go ahead and press that button in and lock it in. Then you can go ahead and release it. And you want to go ahead and repeat for the passenger side. Go ahead and install your carpeted liner here, working that up underneath. Now that we have the carpeted cover underneath the dash here, we can go ahead and install our screw here. And snug that down. And you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.